At first, I pledged to spend $10,000 to get this GT3 right. Then that number crept up to $13,000. And I think I'm going to land somewhere around $16,000 to get this car that I paid $112,500 for to get that car right. So today, this is a video where my good buddy Aaron and my mechanic is going to take us through what we've achieved with this car. I'm really excited to say that we are in the final mile, I think. And so we've done the coolant lines. We're going to start there. Then we're going to get into this really fascinating, cool test that we've done on this differential. I've got some mufflers from Pfister down there, and then we got a table full of goodies over here. Yeah, I think we just start with the motor, Aaron. So tell us what you've done.
Sure. So I pinned all the coolant lines here. There's 8 fittings, if I'm not mistaken. We changed all of the coolant hoses, and then also on the recommendation of some other people in the industry, since you have to take so much apart to get into some of these coolant lines back in here, I went ahead and resealed the oil cooler and the console that it sits on. And then this coolant manifold well, there's a couple of little seals in there that I resealed. So you can't really see now, I have the alternator back on, but you can, there's a bunch of hoses in here. And really the only way to replace these is to take all of this apart, get in here. You can see they're all pinned, everything is new. There's some new hose clamps on there too. And that is all done, and the oil cooler is resealed. And then also importantly, you can't really see it, but there's a lot of little plastic vacuum lines in here. This goes to the fuel pressure regulator. A lot of these go to the secondary air injection system. That's an emissions thing. This plastic is brittle. You can take it and snap it with one finger. So while I had this intake manifold off, I went ahead and changed all of these plastic lines, and I cleaned everything up to the best of my ability. So it's cleaner in there. You might not be able to tell, but there was some oil just down in these galleyways, and that was a good thing to, you know, I kind of like cleaning that stuff up.
So, I mean, I think the bottom line on this is we started off saying, hey, let's just pin the lines. And then by the end of it all, and this is the way that I think it's the right way to do it.
Yeah, I think so.
We did everything that needed to be done while this motor was out of the car. And yes, it required dismantling a fair amount of this stuff. But I'm feeling good about this, man. So I think it was all good recommendations.
I think so too. I'm excited to get it back together. All the parts are pretty much here, ready to, we found a couple of other small things we'll talk about later as far as wheel bearings on the left side of the car. So we also changed out the coolant tank here. We have a new coolant tank, a new fuel filter. I took the time to go ahead and change the coolant lines. We have the kit from SharkWorks, so we have all new coolant lines. Not only back in here, but they come all the way up here. This is for your heater core lines. These are the 2 main pipes going up to your front radiators. These are all new. And there's a couple of more lines that are still not installed because you really can't put them in until the transmission is in. And I'll probably go ahead and just detail this up a little bit. It's not that bad, but this stuff like this you can really just wipe down, take about 10 minutes, make it look nice. It's stuff you can't get to when the motor is in the car.
Well, I'm excited, man. I mean, yeah, I mean, the car deserves it, but I'm really excited to be driving one of these things where I know that everything's been done, because I'm going to put some miles on this car.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm going to put some miles on it too.
You know what? You've earned it, man. Go enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's the motor. That's the overview of a couple other things. I want to get into this diff here, though. Now, you know, reportedly these 996 GT3 limited slip differentials will go early on. Car only has 35,000 miles on it.
They use the clutches in these, much like a friction disc type clutch, like your clutch for the gearbox, and they wear out, is what I've been told. And there's a factory test where you basically put the output splines on, and you put it in a vise, and you make a little jig, and you want to see how much force it takes to spin, like an open diff. So the factory specs are between 5 and 10 or 5 and 15 Newton meters. So we'll go ahead, I have this set up, and at 5 Newton meters, it locks. But what I found is if we go up to, let's go up to 6. It's starting to spin at 6, and at 6.5, it's not really locking. So in my opinion, it's on the low side of their scale, but due to its age, I would want to say it's probably worn out. We'd probably benefit from rebuilding it. The only issue is The rebuild kit from Guard is on back order, so we can either put this one back in, order one, and wait for it to arrive, or we just have some options here.
Yeah, so I'm mulling over doing a wave track instead of a limited slip. We don't need to get into what that is. Aaron, I threw one of those in my 993, so it's a cool piece. I'm not a real big fan of keeping this, putting this back in the car as it is, and so I'm guessing we're going to lean in the direction of the wave track, so we'll make that decision in the next, call it 24 hours.
Sure. Yeah, but what's really cool is you can see this thing is hand
Yeah.
engraved here.
Let me see if I can get that on camera. That's really interesting.
Made in the UK with a bunch of serial numbers on it and a part number. I'm sure
There it
someone
is.
knows where this is made or who made these for Porsche, but
Yeah, man, that is.
so
All right, so a couple Porsche guys geeking out on Porsche parts. So let's see. You know, I think it's interesting. Let's talk a little bit about tracking, whether this car's been on track. So initially I thought it had not been on track because it's got no, what do you call it, range 2 over revs. That's all they measure in the 996 is 1 and 2.
right.
Also, the body's in good condition, the paint's in good condition. However, we found the wheel bearings have gone bad in the 2 left wheels, so, you know, rear wheel and
Yeah, and
front.
I can show this to you. Let me lower the car a little bit. That way I can show you the play.
And so, guys, just to kind of put a bow on that, this is a clue that the car's been tracked if just one side has wheel bearing failure, right, Aaron?
But yeah, potentially. Usually, like a lot of tracks in North America, especially like here on the East Coast, have a lot of right-hand turns. So I find like left-hand side tires get chewed up, left-hand side brakes. Everything on the left-hand side of the car tends to get eaten up a little more. Whether that's the case with this car or not, I don't know. But there is and it'll be really hard to show on the video, but
Yeah, I can see it. Hold on. Let me just see if I can prop that right there. All right. Yep.
I hear it and feel it.
Yep.
It's very subtle. I had a friend come over and we tried to make sure it wasn't the upper dog bones or the rear tow rod or the control arm. So we're going to put a wheel bearing on it and see.
And I've never put eyes on a wheel bearing, so there's that. We can get into that in a moment.
And the front as well. So the front it's kind of hard to see, but there's definitely some play there, but it spins out smooth. You hear those carbon ceramics still spinning.
Don't even talk to me about this carbon frame.
But and then we can go over to the other side because I have one of your Girodisc rotors on.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and change those. And
Yeah, guys, we're bouncing around on you, but
sorry.
in the first video, it's super bummer that we discovered that one of these ceramic rotors, well, it's gone, it's off the car. Maybe we can look at it in a minute, but here's the new one.
So here it is. Once I finish, I'll probably start on this side of the car just because I'm doing the shock on the right rear. We'll do the conversion rotor on the back, finish this side, then go to the next because we're going to do both rear shocks on this car and the wheel bearings.
Okay.
So,
Well, you know, all these things start adding up, including our nifty new lip here.
yeah, that new front lip is looking good.
We're going to do plugs and coils on the car just because, right?
Yeah, so I'll go over a couple of things here. So here's the old shock. You can clearly see it was leaking. It's a big, nasty mess. So what I'll do is I'll measure up the height. I don't know where they set this new factory shock. We'll measure up your sway bar mount, make sure it goes back in the same place. We're going to be aligning this car, so not as important. I don't know if we're going to quarter balance it, but we'll get these close just to have a good baseline to start with. Of course, we'll reuse your spring. We'll check out this upper shock mount, make sure it's good, and yeah, that's the shock. And then an interesting thing, we got some feedback from you guys. So we were going to use a 997 turbo rear main seal, which used to be the thing to do, but we've heard that there's some issues with noises coming from the rear main seal, especially at idle, which is really annoying. And the reason we're not using the standard 996 GT3 rear main seal is I've done this job before and have had it leak shortly after, so doing the job again is not fun. So the recommendation we got was to use the 997, the late GT3, 997.2. They call it the 4.0 rear main seal, and it is a little more robust, and apparently it doesn't make any noise, so we're going to put that in. This is the handy-dandy, pricey factory tool. So we'll get that rear main seal in, then we'll do the flywheel and clutch, figure out the diff, get that together, and then pop the motor back in the car. And also, here's your new clutch slave cylinder. So Will mentioned that he I know how Will drives, and we go up in mountains and have a lot of fun. So we didn't want to go with a really weak pad with these iron rotors. So we're going with the Ferodo DS2500, which is a really good street and can be used on the track pad. I think they'll pair really well with these 4S tires. So if you are able to fade those on the street, you are doing something crazy. So here are the new pads. We'll do new sensors as well since it's a street car.
Okay.
And then we do have your rotors over here. I'll have to unbox your carbon ceramic if you want to see it.
I don't want to see it. No.
You don't want to see it.
Makes me sick.
I understand. So, yeah.